under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All board members are present. Do we have any agenda items to table or remove?
Yes, we do today. They are all under Personnel J3, and it's A, B, D, I, J, and K, and they are indicated on your agendas as marked out as well. And I ask that you approve it as stated.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as noted? Mr. Hall makes the motion. Mr. Reed will second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have the minutes from our September 8th meeting. Do we have a motion for approval? Mrs. King makes the motion. Mr. Nelson will second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have no delegations present, so next we have the superintendent's report.
So I'm going to direct you to a stack of papers that you do have in front of you. They're kind of color-coded. The very first one I'm going to go over is the scorecard summary. You will have this broken down to you in a variety of ways. I'm going to go over the bottom chart first because that's what is on a public site and allows you to see. If you ever want to see additional data about schools, you can go to WB Zoom, which allows you to see. Then you go in and pick your county, and it breaks down data, and it talks about attendance, and you make sure you pick the right year, and then you can look at individual schools as well. But I wanted to use that chart to let you see the way that this scorecard will come out from the state, and as the principals review some of this information and where they are targeting right now. And I'm going to kind of show you the connection between the two. Let's look first. Across, it says that the color coding, if it's in green, it exceeds standards. If it's in blue, it meets standards. If it's in yellow, it's partially meets. And if it's red, it does not meet. Depending on the length of the red, tells you if they're almost out of that zone. So I'm going to give you that example. I don't want to start with the lowest, but I'm going to. We'll start with the red. If you look at attendance for the middle school, do you see it's just barely red? The goal is 20. The middle school was at 21. So you can see that means they're close to the next color and almost at partially meets with attendance. So you see how those little bars work? So if you look at the ones that you have seen already, and we've talked about, are academic achievements, which are the first two columns. And if you look, other than the high school math, which does not meet standards, the rest of them are in the green, blue, and yellow, which is where you want to be, and you want the yellow or the green and the blue to be large. If you look at Harrisville's math, it's in the blue. It says it meets standards, but you can see it's over halfway to exceeds. Do you see that? So I think I wanted to just show you how they're performing. But a big one that I want to point out to you is the second set of two columns, which is progress. So the first one's actually achievement, and the next two columns are progress. Which schools are moving the needle and making change? And if you look at this, in all of them, we are showing growth. And probably one of the ones that really stands out to me is Harrisville Elementary's math progress. They had one of the highest progress improvements in math in the state. And you can see that because they're in exceeds standards, but it's also green. It's almost, the whole bar is almost filled in. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. And you can see that Smithville is in green all the way across. You've got yellows, blues, and greens everywhere else. The middle school has the one attendance, and the high school has the one math. And then the high school, though, has a couple of ones that we're extremely proud of, and that is the graduation rate consortiums, or the cohorts. Their 5-year cohort exceeds standards. Their 4-year cohort meets standards. Their attendance for a high school is almost, it's improving, and it's almost to meet standards, but they're on track to graduation, and post-secondary achievement are both at meet standards. So the things they're measured on are a little bit different than the elementaries and the middle school. So I kind of just wanted to point that out. And then what's not on there that I just want to share is with our district, if you look at our performance values for ELA, math, and then progress ELA and math, we're yellow in all of those. Graduation rate, we're blue. 5-year, we're green. Attendance value is yellow. Discipline value is blue. On track to graduation's blue, and post-secondary value is blue. So once again, as a county, when all the data is pulled together, we have no red indicators, and that our indications can show progression, and that we are not only showing that we have improved in meet standards or partially meet standards, but we're also continuing to move the needle in progress toward academics. So I just wanted to share that with you today. Over the next few meetings, the state will start sending out reports, summary reports, but I couldn't wait, so I made you money. So if you turn to the next sheet.
So what causes the attendance from?
So it's chronically absent. So we're looking at, they want you to be less than 20% chronic absence, is to get to the.
Did that school have a problem before they changed the rules on?
Oh, it was like in the 30s, like we've improved.
Okay.
It has gotten like really, across the board in attendance, our attendance chronically absent has improved everywhere. And that, if you'll see here in just a minute, that's one of our goals. But for that little piece of red, a year ago, it was worse than that. So they are moving in the right direction.
Just curious, thank you.
No, I'm glad you asked. The next thing I just want to show you is how we kind of tie all this together. We are required to do what's called a strategic plan for each of our schools. And this is our county strategic plan. We've discussed all of these. You've seen these when we look at my goals, when we set things up. I just wanted you to see the summary of this. And if you go on our website, you can find a summary of the strategic plan for each of the schools as well as the county. And you'll see a consistent theme in those, because as I've told you, one of the ways you can move the school system forward is if we're all going in the same direction. And so this shows you what our goals are. And the first one is an obvious student goal, which is to improve our ELA and math achievement. And then underneath that, we have key action steps. And so for our key action steps for the county are like programs we use, things we don't have completely embedded. For each of the schools, they're more specifically designed for areas that they are also needing to make change in. The next one, you'll see we have improved student attendance. We have our key action steps with that. Then goal 3 is improve social emotional behavior outcomes for students. We have our key action steps and improve overall school operational efficiency. And last year, that, like, as you all know, that was one of my main goals, is to make sure that we are providing school systems and the directors here with enough support that they're not having to manage all the time, that they're able to do more instructional leadership. And so that, once again, is another goal of ours. But I wanted you to know that when someone wants to talk about school with you, that you know the key components to what our vision is. And it's all about student achievement, and student achievement is impacted by student attendance, and it's impacted by students being able to acclimate and have the support that they need, as well as us operating effectively in order to focus on education. So I just kind of wanted to give you a summary of that, and you'll see that same discussion throughout as the spring comes with our principals that come in. And the last thing I want you to look at is a new report that I've asked Mr. Clevenger to make for you, that you will get this every second meeting of the month. And the reason I did chronic absenteeism, as Dr. Jackson just pointed out, that's the one that's on the report card. So we're going to show you as we go through the year how we rank in it. And then we have the definitions again of each of those. Chronic absenteeism deals with if we have 180 days of school, 18 days, which is 10%, that's how they calculate how many kids are at that level. Currently, you saw, and we've also given you the color code again. We went ahead and made it look like that so you could get a feel for where we are striving to be. We went with the same kind of look. And right now, all of our schools, Creed and Smithville, are at meet standards, while Harrisville Middle School, High School, and the county overall is partially meet standards. So we are going to keep that because we know what percentage it should be at day 20. And so 20, how many days can they miss? 2. And so that's how that is measured. And so you'll get another one the second month, which will be basically day 40, and so on throughout the year, so you can see the consistency of that. Now, it's a little skewed early in the year. We're not panicked because it's just partially meets, because 2 days is not a lot to miss school. And so as we move forward, that will become more realistic as to what really their attendance rate is, or their chronic absenteeism is. Also, attendance rate. If you remember attendance rate, it's just like the percentage of kids that are at school. And so basically, we currently feel that at 96%, all the schools are meeting what our expectations are, and the high school is right on the border with partially meets. And then regular attendance, you know the definition of that as well. If you don't, it's written on here, the percent of students attending 95% or more. And we have 2 schools, Creed and Smithville, that are in the exceed standards, and the rest are meet standards. So we believe attendance is, we don't only believe, we have data to prove that if you send them to school, we're going to teach them, and that their overall success rate is higher. And so once a month, we will give you this report so that you're aware of how we're doing with attendance. And I just wanted to share that with you as well. And then finally, as always, I bring you information. This one I went back and forth on. I went ahead and added it. I just want to let you know that for Constitution Week, the National Society of the Daughters of American Revolution provided some instructional information to students about the Constitution. And the last thing under other that I want to talk about is we had a year ago an aviation class that was going to do Discover Flight. Do you remember that? Well, it got postponed, and then it apparently got postponed again. Well, it got postponed until this Saturday. It should have been back on the board agenda because those are probably different kids in that class. And it didn't get put on there, and it didn't get caught till today. So I am just informing you that we're going to go ahead through this with the fact that it was rescheduled so the kids can go, but at the next meeting, I also will put it on the agenda for a retro. And just wanted to let you know that it wasn't anyone's doing, it just happened. It was we're learning. We're learning. And so I just want to inform you of that. All right, that's all I have.
Well, ideally, a school system should always be running, correct?
That's right, and we are every day.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions?
I love the data that you're using, the attendance, and your emphasis on that. That's great. I love your charts.
I like to color code them.
All right, next we have director reports, and we will start with Wendy Johnson.
Your charts.
And pictures. You'll see timelines and charts.
Yes.
And color coding.
Okay, I am not going to take up too much of your
Did you
time.
provide them pictures?
I will.
The newspaper can have those as well. Neither of those or anything that's. There's nothing on there. Just makes their job easier too.
All right, I am not going to take up too much of your time, but I do want to give you a quick update on the safe school entrances, and that is what your pictures are of. One side is Harrisville, and if the top 2 pictures are the cutouts of the pass-through window. And the bottom two pictures, the bottom left is kind of the hallway, if you would, for the man trap, the outside door. And then, the bottom right picture is the exterior doors. The exterior doors are in place, the man trap wall is in place, as you can see. The pass-through window is cut out, and most of the glass has been installed at Harrisville. If you flip over and look at Creed, the exterior doors are in place, that is the bottom right. And then the two diagonal pictures are the interior view of the exterior doors. And then the top left picture is the top floor doors. And again, a lot of the glass has been installed there. We're waiting for, I feel like we're waiting for random pieces of glass to show up to fill in here and there. The glass and the doors at the interior of Creed. We're working with CCI and Electronic Specialties to coordinate the access controls and the locks to make sure everything flows securely and nicely. And we will be installing a drywall bulkhead, and that will take place, it will have grills in it, which will allow for ventilation and air circulation. So things are moving nicely with that project. And your transportation project update, that's what your timeline is. Everything with an X over there on your far right has been completed. The ads are running currently this week in the papers. Next item on our agenda would be our pre-bid meeting on September 26th at the bus garage, and Mr. Shanty suggested we hold it there. So we'll have our walkthrough there as well. And he said if we had it here, people might get lost, so we're gonna have it there. Bids will be accepted through October 8th, with the opening and the selection of the company taking place here on October 10th. And then if that all goes well at the board meeting on the 13th, hopefully pending your all's approval, we'll accept the company with the anticipated construction starting on the 14th or as soon as possible pending approval.
Okay, so the bids open on the 14th?
The bid is open. Bids will open and be accepted the 29th through October 8th.
Okay, so it'll be on our October 13th meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought, I just wanted to double check.
No problem.
Now, I was at Harrisville today, and they're getting excited about the doors, and they're starting to look at what processes they'll use, where they want to move their furniture to make it more accessible. So I think they're starting to get things in place at the schools as well. After having to run their offices in a hallway part of the day, they're ready.
Yes, they are.
So
They are.
we're
Both
ready to
schools
get
are
it
ready.
moved back in. But they've been really good sports, working with the companies and working with us to make sure that we can get this put in place.
I have a question about pre-college.
Sure.
And I think it's working out good, because I had a concern that the office was gonna be isolated from the students in order to get there because of the man trap, that these doors will open for students coming that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to keep, we're not trying
We
to.
don't want to keep them.
Out, we're trying to.
I know, but
keep these
remember,
people out.
I
Yeah, you worried
mentioned
about
to you
that.
that there was gonna be a wall there, and now the kids gonna get there.
There's doors.
Just a
Yeah.
door, just a door.
So does the bid include like the destruction of the old garage?
Yes.
As one big?
Yes. All the
As
rules.
well as making sure the site is still operational, like making sure that in the winter we can still plug our things in, making sure our gas pump, so whatever electric we need, all of that is also included in it.
Any further questions? She's trying to see.
She's away.
Thank you very much. Lori Wells. She wouldn't do this for me.
That's great.
So many titles now. Chief Business Officer, Official, Treasurer and Director.
Okay. So as you know, this time of year is the financial statements, and this is for
basically looking at last year and evaluating it. So I've done what we've always done, is a little bit of the summary, the financial statement summary that I wanted to go over. So last year we had a beginning fund balance of 16.2 million, and we ended up getting 32 million in revenue, and 18.6 million was spent out in expenditures. We, when I say transfer out, that is transferring out of Fund 11 into another fund to cover. So we transferred out 454,000 to child nutrition to balance it. We transferred out 113,800 for the energy loan payment, and we also transferred out 500,000 that went into the bus garage fund. And then when I say transfer in, so that's when, like for Fund 61, it's our federal grants, we get an indirect cost, it's a percentage based on the overall we spend. So that brought us in $98,803. So total fund balance is 28.5 million. So underneath that line, you'll see that it says prepaid BRIM asset. Well, what that means is we had to end up paying in advance. So what happens is it gets paid at the end of FY25 for next year, for that quarter. And that was $35,550. And then you'll see we have a restricted levy funds of 8.8 million. We have our committed bus replacement, step 7B funds, 831,000. And we have committed remaining general funds, and what these funds are is anything that has been kind of like a miscellaneous, so any kind of donations. This also includes our technology buyback that we have in a separate line item. So it's some of those that we have separate, but they're already committed for those certain projects. And so that is 302,000. We have 929,000 in encumbered funds. And so that gives us an unassigned balance of 17.5, and so overall the fund balance is 28.5. So if you turn to the second page, I just wanted to go over a little more details, just to kind of give you an idea that from last year, I'm still working in 25, so in 24 to 25, I broke down where the increase in revenue came from. So I compared 24 to 25, and you'll see that excess levy increased and the general levy increased. So one increases, the other increases. So we had an increase in our levy and tax revenue. So the financial statements reflect the county's financial position and activities. So this is the district's revenues, expenditures, assets, and liabilities. But what this means is the board currently has more assets than they do liabilities, which puts us in a good financial stability situation. So to go over, when I say general fund, that's general fund 11 and our excess levy. It's all combined when I say general fund. So the levy revenue increased from the prior year, and so with that increase, what this does, it allows the board the opportunity to progress or support some of those additional projects we wanted to have in the CEFP to help fulfill that 10-year CEFP that we have. Just to kind of go over some financial trends. So Fund 61, these are our special fund projects. These are our state and federal grants that we get. And so the indirect costs have decreased from prior to about 2 to 3 years, and that's due to the ESSER money. We don't have that anymore, so it decreases. With ESSER money, we were able to use a larger percentage amount to help offset. And so FY25 was the end. I say it was the end, but we ended it in the beginning of FY25 was the end of Fund 71. So it helped with the expenditures for the summer program that carried forward from FY24 into 25. And then I did a little chart down below that shows you the county portion for child nutrition. And part of it has to do with the expenditures have increased for, I know, for food costs and for the salaries. But just to kind of give you an update that to show you over the years that so from 21 to 22, there was actually a decrease, a 20% decrease. And I believe a lot of that has to do with we were still receiving ESSER grants for some of those supplies for child nutrition. So it helped offset the cost. But then in 22, 23, it increased 24%, 23, 24, it increased to 42%, and then 24 to 25, it increased by 22%. But you'll see that the increases are not as high for some of the years as they are the others. But I also, I can tell you that last year, the revenue we received in child nutrition compared to prior years was higher. And I know that has to do with, I think, starting to, like offer the pizza line or increase participation, some of the different things. So it was a good thing, even though it looks like we're still paying more in, if that makes sense.
So increased participation
Decreases the county
the
portion,
county
yes.
portion.
Yes. Are there any questions on that?
And that's just because we are a county that allows for all students to have free lunch.
Yes.
Or breakfast, or meals.
Yes. Yep.
I always think about how good you must have been in third grade math.
One of your star students.
That's
wasn't
right,
she?
but she wasn't mine.
The other thing I did want to go over, I do have a supplement on the agenda, and I only have one, and that is Fund 61. It's state, but it is state aid. It's the Faculty Senate, and that Faculty Senate is distributed between the schools based on how many teachers or counselors or speech that they have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good job,
Thank
Marie.
you. Yeah.
Mrs. Hott, will you at a future meeting do an overview of our CEFT since it's been a while? And Mr. Hall may not have been here when we were working on it.
I know that, that would be a good project too, to do with Wendy
After the wedding.
after the wedding.
Bless you.
But we are working on, like, we have to do, we have something that's due soon on that.
Yes, we have an update on it.
And so we've been working on that update, but it would be great to bring it back out again. I think it would benefit everyone, so. Okay,
Again, after.
after the wedding.
Much appreciated.
All right, next we have the consent agenda.
Under consent agenda, we have 14 items. The first 5 are ones you've seen often on the last few agendas. That's beginning of the year type things, volunteer drivers, volunteers, transfers, employee coverage, as well as a high school attendance waiver. Number 6, we did ask to amend the school support organization. The middle school, a few years back, did start a PTO, so they're trying it again. And so we added it back to the organization. They'll know more after this week when they do a startup. But at their parent meeting, they had a lot of interest in it. So they brought that back. Then 7 through 11 are WVUP students wanting to conduct hours. They meet all the requirements. 12 is Ritchie County High School early entrance students that also need to conduct hours through WVUP. And then 13 is an agreement with Westbrook to provide a program at the middle school. And the last one on this is we were contacted by the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection to conduct surveys and inspections with Creek Collins. And it's part of some grant they have, and they had to survey so much, and we were just on the list. They just contacted us. I ask that you approve those as stated on the record.
Superintendent is recommending that we approve the consent agenda as stipulated on the record. Do we have a motion for approval? Mrs. King makes a motion, Mr. Reed will second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have resignations.
We have 4 resignations. The first one is Kelsey Wagner from Spelling Bee, Andrea Kirk as a substitute teacher, Michelle Jones is the head volleyball coach at Ritchie County High School, and Melissa Carmichael as a cook at Ritchie County Middle School High School. I ask you to approve those resignations as stated on the agenda.
Superintendent is recommending that we approve the resignations as stipulated on the record. Do we have a motion for approval? Mr. Hall will make the motion. Mr. Reed will second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have,
I said I should have removed that one too. We have no resignations.
that's fine. We will move to 3. Employment.
So we ask that you, letter C, Garrett Owens as a substitute teacher. EF, our service personnel substitutes. Jenna Keener as a substitute secretary. Christy Smith, substitute secretary. And then GH are permanent positions. They are transfers within the system. Carrie Aliff, a transfer to a 3rd grade aide, and Dan DePino to the mechanic bus operator position. LMNO and P are not authorized certified non-paid coaches for wrestling, both middle and high school. And then O and P are girls basketball, Drew Ross and Adam Davis. And then Q and R are to ask you to retroact interim coaches for our volleyball program, Kim Delancey and Ashley Davis.
Alright, so the superintendent is recommending that we approve J3C, E to H, and L to R. Do we have a motion for approval? Mr. Nelson makes the motion, Mrs. King will second. We did have a question just for out procedure. When they're a non-paid volunteer coach, they come up annually?
Yes. The policy states and.
Making sure I answered correctly.
Yes. Well, and you will notice that last week I put Cody Camp for the middle school, and this year, or last meeting, and this one for the high school, the wrestling team practices together, middle and high, so they chose to get them approved both, just like the cross country does, just in case they are working with one of the other kids. So I just had to do him one, because I had him right on one last time, so I cleaned it all up. So that's why it's there.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have,
The reason this one's set separately is it was dependent on a transfer above.
Okay.
So we are going to approve Brian Davis as a special ed aide at Harrisville Elementary School.
do we have a motion for approval? Mr. Reed makes the motion, Mr. Hall will second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have suspension or termination.
I ask that you approve or ratify a 8-day unpaid suspension of Brian Davis, a service personnel employee, at the time he was at Harrisville Elementary School.
Okay, do we have a motion to ratify the superintendent's recommendation and suspension of an employee? Mr. Nelson makes the motion, Mrs. King will second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Next, we have the payment of bills in the amount of $671,045.15. Do we have a motion for approval? Mr. Hall makes the motion, Mr. Reed will second. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have financial requests for approval.
So as Mrs. Wells explained to you, the supplement, it deals with faculty senate funding, and then approval of the financial statements that she submitted or shared with you prior. I ask that you approve both of those financial requests as stated.
Superintendent is recommending that we approve the financial requests as stipulated on record. Do we have a motion for approval? Mr. Nelson makes the motion. Mr. Reed will second. It's hard to see on both sides, but all those in favor, is there any further question? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Do we have any requests for agenda items for our next board meeting?
You said it didn't have to be the next one, but I will add the overview of the CMP to a later
A
agenda.
later agenda, yes. It would be a good time to refresh, and I'm sure that Mr. Hall will love learning more about it.
Okay.
Do we have any board member committee reports?
The multi-met last Thursday, we agreed on Dr. Hogg's goals. The outbuilding project is almost complete. The WBUP Consortium Regional Skill Event, scheduled in the spring, and the Tech or Treat, they call it, is now scheduled for October 22nd. That is my update from all time.
Well done. Any other updates? All right, our next regular meeting will be held October 13th at 6 o'clock at the board office. The time is